Hello, everyone. So, welcome to our first match of a live Go commentation stream. I'm your host, IndySN, and this is a stream for you guys out there that are curious to know how the game is played and what strategies that I am seeing right here on the board, as well as other viewers who are more experienced than I am in the sport. Now, I just the huge disclaimer warning right now. I know they're getting started, but huge disclaimer warning right now. I am not a professional Go player at all. I'm just a beginner, and I'm still learning the ropes of the game. But I'm hoping to share with you guys my understanding of the game thus far, and I'm hoping that the community or more advanced players who are watching will also share their point of view as well. So anyways, without further ado, let's get started. So right now, we have our two players, JayHannah playing as the Black Stones in the upper right-hand corner, as well as the sides, versus Stanley.Silver, who is playing the White Stone. Now, this match is a very special match because this is a 6-stone handicap given to Jay because he's playing against a stronger player. Now, JayHannah currently is a 9Q on OGS right now versus Stanley.Silver, who is holding a rank of an 8Q player. Now, as you can see, the way that Jay pretty much organized his 6-stone handicap is by listing them on the side stars right here. And so that gives Jay an advantage so far. It actually allows Jay to have some territory right here on the side at the very start of the game. Now, why do we have handicaps for players? Well, in essence, it's to give the more experienced player somewhat of a challenge, as well as making it more of a fair playing field for us weaker players here. So with the extra challenge and with the fairness in play, at least we can get a good game going. And so what Stanley.Silver decided to do right now is to try to take this upper territory right here, as the side territories are taken up by Jay. I'm going to try to use different colors right here. So guys, please, I'm still testing all the whole stream out, but let me know how you guys like it. But anyways, so we see a little bit of a conflict right here in the top right-hand corner. Stanley doesn't want Jay to have a corner in this top right. He already has a side. So Stanley is like, hey, guy, Jay, you got to give me some slack here. You got to give me some territory. Give me something that I can work with. But Jay is like, no, I'm going to build my fortress of solitude right here. So Jay, I'm going to put you in blue. Stanley, you are going to be in the red. So Jay's building a strong fortress right here. And he's also building a wall right here. Seeing that Stanley is taking this little territory right here, Jay's trying to box him in. So if Jay was currently playing this match, he's going to try to strengthen this wall as best as he can right here. He's going to try to strengthen this wall as best as he can right here while trying to box in his opponents. He does not want Stanley's stones right here to connect at all. So that would be a good mid-game type of strat. Prevent Stanley from expanding out into the center, because the center is probably the best area for Stanley to gain some territorial space. Now, Stanley understands that the center is very hard to defend. So now he's going to try to take at least the bottom corner right here, as Jay's positioning is not as strong as it is on the left and right hand side. Okay, Stanley did try to poke and prod around on the right hand side right here, and it's a little difficult. It is somewhat of a little difficult to have it. I know I'm mixing up the color, guys. That's all right. But Jay sees that Stanley is trying to take this bottom left hand corner. So what he is trying to do right now is trying to build this wall of fortification, so to speak, and then Stanley in turn replies with a connect. So right now he's keeping his stones very strong. They're together. They have strength in unity. And so Protoss. And so he is trying to build a barrier so that Jay can no longer come into this region right here and invade. Stanley is like, hey, Jay, you, sir, already have the sides already. Just give me a piece of the corner on the bottom left and the top region right here. Okay, so Stanley's region is right here on the top. He doesn't want to give Jay that territory as he is in somewhat of a disadvantage because of that 6-stone handicap. Now, the reason why he had a 6-stone handicap, again, if you look on the bottom or on the top right-hand corner underneath Stanley's name, you can see a plus 0.5 Comey point. Now, this 0.5 point was introduced recently in the past several decades of Go tournaments just to resolve any conflict that there might be in terms of a tie. So essentially that 0.5 point is a tiebreaker, and generally in an even match, the person or the player who goes second will have an additional 6.5 Comey points, which, being the person who goes first, because they have that momentum, it is still a disadvantage for the white player. And so that is the reasoning for that 0.5 plus 0.5 that you see under Stanley's name, as well as the 6 additional stones that Jay currently has. Again, Jay is of the weaker players, so Stanley is like pretty much giving him that 6-point advantage that he had. Okay. Excuse me. So what we see right now is Jay trying to fortify his right territory right here, but Stanley is like, we're not gonna let you hold that territory. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this region over here. We're going to try to capture this region, and in doing so, I'm going to start squeezing this black group right here to prevent Jay from having too strong of a presence in the bottom right hand corner. And so what's happening is that Stanley is going to disconnect Jay's single stone here on C8, creating a threat known to be an Atari move. Now, Atari, for those of us who are new players, is essentially when your stone is threatened and is about to be taken by the opposing player. And so the Atari forces Jay to connect. Now, Jay doesn't have to connect, but if he doesn't connect, he's at risk for losing that stone and potentially the presence and the strength of the left side corner right here. And so he doesn't want Stanley to have that. And so, but the disadvantage of doing that self Atari move and connecting is that now you leave yourself open for another Atari. Stanley could easily play a white stone right here, causing this to be a self Atari move. Now, in response to that, Jay connects, and then Jay does his own Atari threat to Stanley, and Stanley was like, you know what, I'm not gonna, he read it out, he's like, I'm not gonna pursue any further on the left hand side. It's too hard, too difficult for me to maintain, and so you know what, you take it, you keep it, I'm just gonna mind my own business and play elsewhere. But now what we see right here is that because he gave up that positioning, right now Stanley is in somewhat of a trouble. Stanley's in somewhat of trouble because this group of stones right here is very close to getting captured, and Jay smells blood. Jay's thirsting to capture these 2, 4, 6 stones. And the reason why is because Stanley only has 1 and 2 points of liberty. Now, Stanley did fill out this region right here on B5, and you might think, hey, you're killing yourself, stop killing yourself. But no, that's not the point. The reason why is because he wants to capture Jay's piece right here to open up an extra liberty and potentially connect these 2 stones together and surrounding. Now Jay's in trouble. Jay is stuck. Jay's 3-stone strength right here is in trouble. He can't save him. He can't save him. Stanley conquered. Stanley received that bottom left-hand corner. Oh my gosh. That was a brilliant move. Jay should have connected right here on the A3 route. If he connected the A3 route, at least these black stones might have a chance to live. He was in an Atari race. He was threatened. And now Stanley was able to conquer that bottom left-hand corner, giving up or taking away from Jay that advantage that he had with those 6-stone Comey. And now Stanley knows this. He knows he's thirsting out to expand. Now he's going to expand his empire, and now he has his eyes set on this group of stones right here. These are the stones that he has his eyes set on. So right now he's going to build his fortification. He's going to prevent Jay from entering into this region right here. He doesn't want Jay to go into that region, so he's going to build up fortification. He's probably going to build up a line all the way over and hopefully try to box in these group of black stones, because that is a good sum of stones that does not have an open eye or a liberty just open just yet. So we might see that conflict later on in the game. Okay. Now, knowing this, Stanley is now going to try to do the same exact thing on the bottom right-hand corner. Right now, he's playing. He's trying to weaken Jay's influence right here on the right-hand side. But Jay is like, no, 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 no. I already gave you that bottom left-hand corner. This bottom right-hand corner is mine. You're the stronger player. Stop being such a greedy pig and let me have it. Sorry, guys. I like to do analogies. So if that was a little too harsh, let me know. But anyways, so right now, Jay is going to create this little wall right here, trying to box in Stanley's group into this little corner right here. And in doing so, opens up Jay to have this huge amount of territory later on in the game. Okay, so that's exactly what Jay's doing. Jay is placing stones to disconnect Stanley's blue stones here from connecting with the rest of the stones up here and potentially expanding into the center region over there. Okay, and so what Jay's doing right now is he's just trying to go in for the surround, but unfortunately with the surround like this, Stanley can cut this stone right here and Jay's cornerstone will be at risk. And that's indeed what Stanley does. He's now forcing Jay to protect this self-authority. Jay has to move here to protect this stone, but in doing so, he loses this bottom right-hand corner. And so Stanley, all he has to do is extend outwards down here to the R1 position, and that stone is as good as gone. Or he can go down even more. Who knows? So anyways, that stone at S2 is now gone. And so Jay sees this, and now he's going to threaten with his own Atari right here. His own Atari. So Stanley's S3 stone is being threatened, but then Stanley sees that. He's like, okay, well, if you're going to threaten that stone, I'm just going to take your stone to open up a Liberty spot so that this stone is no longer in Atari. And so now Jay is thirsting to get rid of this. Jay does have a strong fortitude right here. All he has to do is finish closing up these two Liberties, and then these 4 stones of Stanley's is now in deep, deep trouble. But Stanley is like, you know what? This might be a goner, but if you're going to take these 4 stones, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to expand this way and get those points back. And so that's exactly what Stanley is trying to do right now. See? So he's going to extend out. He's going to try to trade as many territories as possible. Those 4 stones are dead. Stanley's like, good. See ya. That's the sacrifice I'm willing to make, but I'm going to extend out. And I know that you will not have the ability to take me because I can still build 2 eyes inside this bottom right-hand corner. All right. We already got 1 eye right here. So let me erase. We already got 1 eye right here. This is an eye. If Stanley can just cover this, fill in the potholes right here, that is 1 eye. This could potentially be another eye, but not yet until he fills that in. And he can potentially border off, gathering those points right there. Okay. Now, what Stanley's doing is that he understands that he can pretty much put a stone any time in one of these positions at O1, P1, or Q1, and that will give him that second eye. But what he cannot have Jay do is connect these stones from here and here. So he's going to try to do somewhat of a disconnect playing on P3, and he's going to try to prevent the stones from connecting, giving Jay that stronger sense of fortification. Now, the reason why he's playing at N7, which is a very interesting position, Stanley's reading a little bit further into the future. He sees that Jay's building a strong border towards the edge. Now, right now, Jay doesn't have any eyes. He has no eyes right here currently on these groups. He knows that this group right here is starting to form just somewhat, but there is still no eyes. So right now, what he's trying to do is build a presence in the center region. Trying to build a presence in the center region right here in hopes that he can use the influence of the center region and potentially expand inwards and push Jay's stones away from each other and potentially do a surround. But that will probably be for a later portion of the game, towards the end of the mid game or even into the end game points right here. Okay. And so right now, what Stanley is doing, he's just trying to build up his influence. He's trying to build, but Jay's like, okay, well, Stanley, you're going out of control, man. You gotta calm down. And so what he's gonna try to do, what Jay's trying to do, is trying to build this little wall right here, and hopefully extend the wall to his other stones over here, or potentially over here to box Stanley stones in right there. Okay. And so that's exactly what he's trying to do. And Stanley is trying to build that influence. He's trying to solidify this territory right here because, again, he's at a 6-point disadvantage, being that he's going second, and he gave up that 6-point advantage to Jay. And so Jay's like, okay, well, if you're gonna take that, he's gonna take this border right here. There is absolutely no way that he can, at the level that he's at, not being rude or anything, but it's extremely hard. When I'm playing my games and I'm trying to invade on a line 3 type of scenario, I always lose that battle. And that's one of the main reasons why a lot of players like to play closer to the edge. It doesn't give the opponents that wiggle room, big enough wiggle room, to effectively capture these pieces right here. It's extremely hard when you're on the third row, third column on either side. It's extremely hard to defend or to capture that, being the attacking player. Okay. Now, if you're the defending player, it's much easier to defend as long as you have somewhat of a base of stones that is connected and has quite a number of stones for the strength of it. If that was confusing, just know more stones, more strength, better fortitude. Okay. So anyways, so Jay is like, okay, well, pretty much this group right here is dead. I can't capture it. I cannot capture it whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strengthen whatever territory I have left. As long as I can defend my territory, I have these 4 stones already. As long as I can defend my territory and gather whatever else influence I have, right now Jay has those territories right here. Stanley has that territory. He's in blue. He has around this territory as well as this mini territory and that upper territory over here. So far it looks to be like somewhat of an even game. We obviously, if I'm not counting at all, so I obviously don't know how many points are currently allocated in this region of the game. If you guys are a professional right here, do a timestamp and let me know how many points there are right now for each of the players. But I believe currently, if I'm looking at the board right now, I believe that Stanley might be somewhat more ahead in terms of territorial points. Okay. So, but right now, Jay's like, okay, well, I'm going to try to box you in right here. I don't want Stanley to extend even further and connect these stones to the center stones. He doesn't want those stones to start extending out. So what Jay's going to do is Jay's going to try to expand out into the center. Not only is he boxing in Stanley's stone into this territory right here, but Jay's also adding influence to that center of the board. If you look at the stones right here, Jay is having that center influence. He's starting to create that wall of fortitude, trying to defend and prevent Stanley from taking any more territory, because right now Stanley looks to be somewhat ahead in this position. Okay. And so right now he's just fortifying the middle. He's going to build, and Stanley's going to respond in kind, but Jay has to watch out. This position right here is somewhat threatened. If Stanley decides to cut the 4 stones away from these 2 stones, this is trouble for those 4 stones. Excuse me. That is trouble for those 4 stones. And why is that? Because if Stanley somehow decides to go into this corner and Jay tries to defend it by doing an Atari move, Stanley, all he has to do is extend outward to these 3 stones right here at the opens of the tiger's mouth. And essentially, this line of influence will be defended. And if Jay decides to self-Atari the other direction, then Stanley just has to open up one, and then he's able to have this influence right here. So Jay needs to be on the lookout for this move right here, disconnecting these stones. Okay. But as of right now, Jay is now building a fortitude line right here, and he's going to try to box in the 3-3 positioning right here. He's going to try to get those extra, I believe it's 4 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 points. He's starving for those extra 9 points. So he's going to build that line of fortitude. But unfortunately for him, Stanley is also thinking the same thing. He's going to try to do a surround right here on these stones. As long as Stanley can prevent Jay from building 2 eyes in this positioning right here, he can capture those 4 stones. And so Stanley understands this. That's why he took the 2-2 route in the top left hand corner. Okay, and by 2-2, that just means that he's on the second row, second column intersection right here. That's the 2-2 point. This is the 3-3 point. Okay, every star point, every corner star point is the 3-3-4-4. My bad. The position right here is 3-3. The star point is 4-4. And so right now Stanley doesn't look too good. He has a surround. He's starting to have the surround, but Jay understands that surround is a little annoying, and so he's going to try to capture these 4 pieces right here. These 4 pieces are a pain in the butt for Jay right now, and so Jay is thirsting to either capture these 4 points or these 5 points to destroy Stanley's influence in this left-hand corner, because Jay is like, hey, you gave me those 6 extra points. You gave me those 6 extra stones. This is my territory. I'm not going to give it to you. You're invading my space, my personal bubble. Get away. And there we go. Jay finally fills in the connection point. So now Stanley is going to have a harder time trying to capture and break through those stones right there. Okay. And so Jay understands this. He's like, you know what, Stanley? You pay too much attention outside. I'm going to capture these 5 stones right here. That's mine. I'm sorry, but you are toast. And so Jay is most likely going to capture these 5 stones. Again, he doesn't have to right now, but the potential threat is his 3 stones here will get captured very, very soon. So he has to remember that. Be on the lookout. The Aji is still there. I think that's the term, Aji, the aftertaste. Okay, anyways. So now Jay understands this. He's going to strengthen his border right here. Not only is he increasing his territory right here, but he's also threatening those 5 stones right here by taking away one of their liberties. And then Jay indeed takes these 5 stones, as Stanley did threaten him to take the 3 stones right there, right here by playing here, because these 3 stones were in jeopardy. So Jay was forced to open up an extra liberty and take those stones. Okay, so now here's the question. Is this black group still alive? Yes and no. If Jay plays smart, he can create 2 eyes right here by placing 2 stones in that quadrant and that marked quadrant right there. Now, Stanley does understand this. This might be capturable. It might be capturable as long as Jay doesn't have the ability to create the 2 eyes, but it's extremely hard in this position, and you would have to really, really force the player to look elsewhere to be able to capture that. But right here, we do have a self-Atari move. Jay is threatening Stanley's piece right here, and so Jay is just trying to strengthen his little territory right here while also threatening the disconnect right here in this position. If Jay is able to disconnect Stanley's pieces from here and here, Stanley will lose. Stanley will lose these 5 stones right here. Okay, Stanley understands that pretty much the left side is a lost cause, so he's going to try to go on the right side. He's going to try to go on the right side and capture more territory, but Jay is like, you know what? I know what you're doing. I'm going to stop and prevent you from taking anything else. And so Jay is moving and Stanley is defending. Okay, what's going on right now? Everything is, oh my gosh. Oh, thinking time. They're on a constant think, because Stanley right now is in a position where he's trying to take over from Jay. Now Jay responds, and now he is going to try to build his fortification right here. He's going to try to cut through Stanley and cut out this connection point right here for Stanley. So Stanley really has to do something right now. Right now he's just going to try to extend. Jay sees this. He's going to cut him off. He's going to disconnect him from connecting to this area right here. But Stanley's positioning is not that smart. Sorry. That is a wrong word. I did not mean that. It's not that good. And that's exactly what I was saying. Stanley has to connect these two groups of stone right here using this connection group right here. And so and Jay sees that, and he was going to play right here, but Stanley saw that ahead of time. So now Jay is trying to prevent Stanley from creating 2 additional eyes, because if Stanley creates 2 eyes, this structure right here is going to be invulnerable. And Jay sees this, and so right here, but unfortunately, Jay's 3 stone pieces right here are at risk. If Stanley fills in this position, Jay is then going to have to be forced to connect all of these black stones together, which might pose a problem later on, because right now Jay doesn't have a single eye in this region, and so that could be limited to capturing. Now Jay sees this, he's going to be playing right here. He's going to try to disconnect these stones right here from each other. He doesn't want Stanley to connect and conquer. And so Jay's going to be right there. He will disconnect those 2 stones from each other, but now Jay puts himself in a tricky position, because now Stanley can play on either side, cutting him off and causing a self-Atari to happen. Exactly, that's what he does. He causes an Atari to happen. Jay has to respond by connecting at this point right here. Okay, and that's exactly what he does next. And so right now it's a very strong game. Like I said, it's extremely hard for new players or novice players or even amateur players to defend in this region, and even professional players is extremely hard if you are the attacking person. And this is exactly what I mean. Jay connects, Stanley now defends again, causing another Atari, and Jay sees that, he's like, okay, forget it, I'm not going to deal with that, that's a sacrificial stone. But now Jay responds by doing a double Atari. And why do I say double Atari? Because he's threatening this stone and this stone at the same time, and that is the position that a lot of us players want to be in. We want to have that advantage. We want to steal that momentum away from the opposing player, because if you're able to do a double Atari, you now have the choice to take one of those pieces, and it forces your opposing player to pretty much bend to your play style now. Okay, so now Jay pretty much stole that momentum away from Stanley, but now Stanley's responding and saying, okay, well, you're going to take that momentum away. I'm going to try to play elsewhere. I'm going to Tanuki out of the way and play elsewhere so that you can take that free stone if you so wish to. Okay, and so Stanley is now trying to extend even further down, and Jay responded by defending, and then Stanley responded as you would, with a connection, because that was an Atari move right here. Jay actually threatened this stone right here on T16 with an Atari, and so Stanley has to defend by giving a connection point. But now Stanley's stone right here, the original stone that was on that 3-3 position, is now in danger, because now Jay was able to successfully surround Stanley's stone at that position. And so this stone is essentially dead at this point. Well, hopefully. We'll see if I'm wrong or not. But now Jay's trying to extend his influence around, but Stanley is going to build that wall of fortification, trying to box Jay's bottom right corner away from the rest of the top corner up here. Okay, so Stanley is going to try to box that in. He's going to try to even potentially, he might even try to cut through this, separating the main group right here of Jay's from this bottom group right here. He may potentially do that. I can actually see him do that, or he may even cut directly in the middle, as there is no solid connection in these points. Not until Jay captures this piece right here will then the 2 points be connected. But right now, as of right now, they are completely separated. And so Stanley sees this. He's going to try to imagine the final end game. He's going to try to build his territorial space. And so what Jay's doing is just strengthening this wall right here for the impending conflict found in the center. Okay, so Jay's going to try to build this wall of fortification. He's going to try to strengthen that, but Stanley is doing a cross-cut pattern, or a one-step one-step skip pattern to try to build his influence in the middle. Okay, and so Jay sees that he's going to try to defend the top corner. He is really these 2 stones right here, even though they're pretty much goners at this point, they are still playing a role, because that is taking up a liberty space from Jay. And if Jay is not careful, and if he kind of forgets, and he's stuck between a double Atari situation, those stones might come into very, very handy for Stanley. Okay. Right now, Jay is ahead by 6 captures, and Stanley does have 3 captures with him. So that 6-point lead that Jay initially had might be dwindling very soon, as Stanley kind of took over the corner and the bottom and the top. And so Jay's in somewhat of a trouble right now. Okay, Jay's in somewhat of a trouble. He might still pull this off if he's able to gather this central piece right here. If he's able to gather that central corner, he might potentially win. Okay. All right. So what's going to happen is that Jay is now filling out the bottom corner right here. He's going to try to take as much territory in this bottom right here so that Stanley doesn't get those free points. Okay. He's going to not only build the bottom corner right here, but he's also going to strengthen this group to pretty much solidify his points right there. Okay. And so Stanley is right now, he's just responding to Jay. Again, Stanley has the opportunity to take Jay's 3 stone right here at any time. But if Stanley is not careful, you know, something might happen. So, but that's always a play that he can play at a later stage. Okay. He doesn't have to waste a move right now capturing those pieces, because those pieces are essentially dead. There's nothing that Jay can really do in terms of capturing this central stone right here. Okay. Because there are 2 eyes. And so if you were in Jay's position and you're to place a stone there, that's actually an illegal move for those of you who are brand new to the game. Okay. And so now what Jay's doing is he's going to try to strengthen up his top right-hand corner, or top left-hand corner, sorry. He's going to try to strengthen up his top left-hand corner, and Stanley sees that. And so he's also going to strengthen his top middle positioning right here. And unfortunately for Jay is actually in a tougher position for this top right-hand corner, just because if Stanley is able to build a bigger influence in this region right here, if he's able to solidify 2 eyes within this 3x3 region, he might be able to cut off Jay's black groups right here, the group of stones right there. Okay. So it's not the end of the game just yet. There's always a possibility that those stones might get taken due to the fact that they do not have solid eye shapes just yet. Okay. And they're not connected with anything. If you can see right here in this top right hand corner, Stanley's group is surrounding Jay's group right here. And this stone is playing a nice role in limiting the expansion of Jay into this top right hand corner, or top left hand corner. Okay. And so now we do see a fight right here in the center. People are now trying to take this central territory space, and Jay's trying to expand his influence, doing 1 stone skip, as this is much easier to defend than if you were to skip 2 or even 3 spaces. Remember, the farther the spacing, the harder it is to defend, and it gives the opponent the opportunity to cut in and separate the 2 groups. So it's always a good idea to have speed, but yet the ability to back off and defend. Okay. If you go too fast, you're going to get separated from the group, and hence bad things happen. So what happened right here is that now Stanley has successfully created 2 eyes right here in the center. So now this wall, this invisible barrier right here, is going to be extremely hard to pass unless Jay finds a way to pretty much fill in the gaps right here to threaten this stone with an target. And indeed, that's exactly what he does. He's going to threaten this stone, but Stanley, all he has to do is place a stone right here to connect these 2 stones into the other groups. And so and that's exactly what he does. And so right here, Stanley is in somewhat of a pickle. If Jay plays a stone right here, which he does, he's actually threatening to take this liberty right here. And if he does take that liberty right there, that allows him to come in this corner right here to threaten this entire white group. So now Stanley has to respond either by limiting the amount of liberties that Jay occupies by threatening with a self-tar, which he does right here, or by finding a way to create 2 new eyes and connecting this whole group to an eye group in the top. That's the only way that he will be able to survive with that group. And so Jay right now is thirsting. He's thirsting for that territorial space. So he's now slowly creeping around. He has units on the left-hand side, on the top left. He has units on the bottom right. And so now he is pretty much leapfrogging. He is spreading out slowly, little by little, expanding his territorial influence while threatening Stanley's liberty spaces. And so Jay is doing a fabulous job, a fantastic job at just slowly leapfrogging. He's only usually one distance away, and this is the type of play that you will see towards the end of the mid game into the end game. You will generally only ever see a leapfrogging or a connection type of playthrough. Okay. And that's exactly what Jay is doing. Jay is preventing Stanley from expanding this central white group to the rest of the groups outside. Jay does have a strong connection point. He does have a very strong connection point. And I honestly see that this group right here for Stanley, yes, you have one eye in this corner right here in that position. But this group has to find a way to develop that second eye. If he doesn't develop that second eye, essentially Jay has this group in the bag. Okay. And so right now Jay sees that in this corner right here, there is no eye currently. There is no double eye currently. There is one right here, but this is somewhat of a false eye until Jay's able to surround this stone right here. If Jay's able to surround this stone, this is now considered a false eye. Either this stone or this stone. But this central positioning will be a false eye until, or is considered a single eye until Jay is able to make a full successful surround on that. Okay? And that's incredibly hard to defend, by the way. And so right now, each player is pretty much trying to fill in the holes in their armor, the chinks in the armor, the weakness in the chain. How do you call it? The weakest link. They're trying to fill in, trying to strengthen those weak groups and connect them with the strong so that there is no potential for the opposing player to essentially leak into the territorial area. Okay. Again, the reason why Stanley played here because he doesn't want Jay's group to pretty much go in and invade this territory. Okay, so now what we're seeing is pretty much a conclusion of the mid game. Well, not really conclusion, but more towards a conclusion of the mid game by just filling in the gaps, connecting the pieces together, and essentially seeing who's going to survive and who's going to not in this game. So with that being said, I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying this match. This match is an incredible match, and if you are a new player playing against a more advanced player, these handicap stones are going to make the game a lot more fun, especially for you. You have an easier playing field, and for the advanced player because it gives them more of a challenge. And so be open to having those handicap stones. It is a-okay, especially if you're a brand new player. It is okay to actually use those to at least have both players enjoy the game more so. Okay, now if you don't like players that have handicap stones, then you're more than welcome not to use a handicap stone in your game. But that's generally the principle of why we do encourage newer players to play with handicap stones, at least against a much better player. Okay. And so right now, Stanley right here is going to defend his territory. He does not want Jay to start messing around with it. So he's going to start connecting these stones. And essentially, this territory right here is going to be Stanley's. Okay. Now, Jay has already captured this singular stone. He's already solidified this top right-hand corner and even this top left-hand corner right here. If Stanley doesn't do anything, essentially this top left-hand corner is going to be considered his territory. Okay, and so what's happening right here is that we're all filling in the dots, crossing our T's, dotting our I's, and then and Jay is just solidifying his base of influence right here. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, and Stanley is cross-cutting right here. Jay is going to respond to his own Hane I think that you would call this a honey, but he would respond in crossing this, and now Stanley does have to connect. Otherwise, he's going to lose this stone due to an Atari situation. Okay. So it looks to be very close to the end game. We probably have a couple more moves left. Again, this is towards this end game. The main point of the end game is to pretty much finish filling out the borders. Take whatever spots you can that's in that neutral zone, because the more spots you take, the more points you have. If you don't take those spots at the end of the final counting, essentially that neutral zone is going to be null. No one's going to get that point. So it's always best, at least for newer players, if they can't see where the territories are, just start putting stones in places where you feel that you might be able to take a point, at least for the neutral space. Don't try to go invading like what Jay's doing right here. Jay, what are you doing? Why are you invading this bottom right hand corner? What's up with this move? What's up with that move? You know it's incredibly hard, but what Jay's trying to do is trying to save those 3 stones. But unfortunately, that move might potentially be a wasteful move, because Stanley can come in at any time, take those 3 stones, and surround this singular stone. And that's generally, you don't want to be playing in enemy's territory, especially if they have a very, very strong foothold behind there. Unless you have a good plan on surrounding all of these pieces right here and breaking through the armor, chances are for the more experienced player, that isn't going to be the case. So now this is going to force Stanley to play right here, capturing those 3 stones, because if he was to connect and protect those stones, he might make the mistake of leaving this spot open for Jay to capture those stones. So that's what was Jay's intention. He sacrificed 2 stones in hopes in the gamble of having Stanley so preoccupied elsewhere on the board that he immediately covers this. But if you're able to remember that, hey, I saved that move for much later in case those moves, in case this moves happen, then as long as you remember that that is a potential move that you can always play later on, the move at c5, you'll always be protected. Again, so essentially what Jay did right here is a waste of a move, but it was a gamble. Okay, so it's 2 stone for a potential 6 or 7 stones. That is a pretty good gamble, but that's only a good gamble if you are either far ahead or if you're trying to catch up. But if you're extremely far behind, that probably would not be the best move to do. At least that's in my opinion. But again, if you guys are more experienced, please write in the comments below. Let me know what you think. But right now, they are pretty much filling out the rest of the territories right here. And so we are going into our end game right now. I believe there's not going to be many neutral spaces soon. Stanley decides to cross cut. I don't know. Jay just needs to fill in and then fill in right here. Stanley is most likely going to play in that region right here. To probably self Atari maybe, but I don't see the benefit of doing that move right there, in all honesty. Now, right here, Jay could potentially take it, but because Stanley just took that piece, this is what we call an infinite Komi. You cannot play at a position right after an opponent takes a stone, due to the fact that we can go on forever and essentially the game breaks because of that. So we don't want to do that. And so what Stanley did is he understood that rule of Go and decided to take it, because that forces Jay to play elsewhere. And so now he has the liberty or the freedom to either fill in the gaps to take over that point, or play elsewhere. And indeed, he does fill in this gap right here. Okay, and so now Stanley, all he's doing is he's filling out the gaps. Jay decided to pass that last turn, and then Stanley and Jay decides to fill out this final gap right here, and then I believe this would be somewhat of the end. I think that they're going to start passing. Yes, Stanley decides to pass, and I believe Jay decides to pass as well. Let me see. Yes. So Jay decides to pass, and so when 2 players pass, this is now the end game where the territories is going to be start in the count. Okay. So right here, if you can see, this is the territory that it was calculated towards the end of the game. We have the Black's territory right here in red. this huge amount of territory right here, as well as this little corner and this entire center. But you can also see white did a fairly good job. White gathered this top centerpiece. As we said in the beginning of the game, he did expand his influence in the center. There were some neutral spaces. So you can see right here, these neutral spaces right here, Jay could have easily placed some more stones in those areas to get 2 or even 3 more points. But during the end game, everyone's tired. We don't see very clearly. And so what's happening is that now those 2 neutral positions, and here's another neutral position right here. Those 3 neutral positions are now considered null. No player gets those points, at least from what the computer is calculating. And you can see right here that essentially with Jay capturing, I believe it was 6 pieces, and Stanley capturing 9 pieces, with the score, Black still won by 56.5 points. So that's the game. This was an amazing game. Jay, you completed. You won by 56.5 points. That is amazing. How that happened. That's an actually amazing game. Very good job. This was a cool game, and it's a cool 6-stone handicap game. And Stanley did a very good job trying to defend as best as he can. And so I got to say congratulations to you both. Thank you for sharing the game with me. And if you guys want, in the comments below, if you guys have a good match that you would like me to do a review game, or at least my interpretation on how the game is going, please feel free to message your game on OGS, on Fox, on whatever platform you're playing on. Send me this SGF file in the comments section below, and give these fellow players a follow on OGS, because we are streaming on OGS and we are doing a live commentation on OGS right now. So thank you guys for staying tuned. Hopefully you guys learned something amazing. And I'm hoping that professional players that are watching this also helps us out in the comment section below, teaching us something more about the game. Again, a disclaimer, I'm still fairly new at the game. I'm not a professional player, but I do love doing these live casting. So thank you guys so much for staying tuned, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, keep on playing. Go.